Hello, everybody, and welcome to OTO-GIRI-SOU. I believe that's how you say it. What is that? Hy Hypericum perforatum? Hypericum perforatum. I... That bottom section, my brain is having a harder time reading that than it is the top. This is a game that recently, relatively recently, it's been like a year at this point. However, I only learned about it last month, like December. This is a game that I have been wanting to play. I really like visual novels a lot. I think visual novels are a very interesting and captivating medium. Uh, in how they are used, especially since a lot of visual novels often double up as puzzle games most of the time. Which I'm a big fan of puzzle games. There's not a lot of good puzzle games out there, I feel like. Uh, so I do enjoy a good visual novel, especially since visual novels more often than not have pretty good stories. So yeah, I'll just do that. Yeah, that works. That works for me. That summer evening, I've been driving down this narrow and winding mountain road, with clouds looming in the sky above. Both sides of the road were lined by a thicket of trees, so the scenery wasn't exactly great. Nami sat next to me, not saying anything at all. Maybe she got tired from playing tennis for so long and she ended up falling asleep. So this, before getting right into it, I should have said this is, according to Chunsoft, a sound novel and the first sound novel ever made. Uh, I'm not 100% sure what they mean by that, unless they literally just mean that it has sound, which, like, that's cool. Like, in the era of, like, the Super Nintendo, yeah, I guess like a book that has sound is kind of a cool idea. Uh, but you know, nowadays we call it visual novels. But who knows? Maybe there's something that will distinguish the sound novel term for the game as we progress. I do know that there are multiple endings. Uh, the game actually, or the translation should say, comes with a fully translated version of the manual, and the manual details like, hey, there's multiple endings. You should play the game multiple times. Cool. Oh, speaking of which, here are the choices. Are you sleeping, Nami? I called out to her gently. Wake up, Nami. I shook her shoulder. Ah. Yeah. Are you sleeping, Nami? I called out to her gently. Nami opened her eyes softly. It took her a while to snap out of her dream, but when she noticed me sitting beside her, she smiled. No. I was just closing my eyes, that's all. Despite what she said, I was certain that she'd been asleep. Sorry I disturbed you then. It's okay. It's okay. You can go ahead and sleep. No, I should be apologizing to you. You're the one who's been driving this whole time, after all. I was just bored, since the radio doesn't work way up here in the mountains. Nami looked out the window. Hey, Alan? What? What's the name of those flowers, I wonder? I noticed them earlier. There was a big stretch of yellow flowers beside the road that had long, thin stems and elliptical leaves. They go by a few names. Hypercums, St. John's wort, or OTO-GIRI-SOU. Spelled out, that's brother cut flowers. OTO-GIRI-SOU. Yeah. There's a weird story about those flowers. I thought I'd tell it to Nami to make the drive a little interesting, so I figured I'd embellish the story. I decided to make it a little spooky. Uh, Embellish? Yeah, let's just embellish. Once upon a time. Huh? What's this about all of a sudden? It happened ages ago. Two brothers, falconers, lived deep in the forest. The two of them got along well, and always spent their days hunting together. Are you saying falconers hunt for falcons? With falcons. Anyway, they were from a prestigious family that was well known for raising strong falcons, but they had a secret medicine that healed falcons' wounds. It had been passed down in their family for generations. With that medicine, falcons that usually would have died from their injuries healed right up. That's not fair, keeping it all to themselves. Maybe so, but it was for that reason that the brothers were respected by the nobility. One day, the ruler of their village gathered all of the falconers around for a hunting tournament there. A hunting tournament? Weird. Don't pester me about the story, alright? Feels like it's dragging on, though. Just listen to the end anyway. Should I give you the... just listen to the end anyway. Okay. I regained my composure and continued telling her the story. The weather was beautiful that day. It was the perfect day to go on a hunt. Everything was going well, so the nobleman was in an especially good mood. However, you scared me. Don't just suddenly shout at me like that. After the sound of a huge bolt of lightning echoed forth, the clear sky suddenly became cloudy, and big chunks of hail fell from the sky. Everyone fled in a panic. That hail must have really hurt, huh? Oh, rain started falling here, too. The falcons flying above them had it especially rough. The hail was as big as a fist, after all, which was unusual for that time of year. The falcons were getting knocked to the ground, gravely wounded. How tragic. Naturally, the hunt was called off. The nobleman was furious. He said that the hunt would have to take place in 5 days, so the falcons had to be healed by then, or it'd be off with the owners' heads. That'd be impossible, though. That night, the falconers all assembled at the brothers' house to get them to share the secret medicine. The kind-hearted younger brother took pity on them. And then what happened? The older brother would hear none of it. Their ancestors had been treated terribly by the people of that village. Their medicine was the only thing that allowed them to overcome all the adversity they'd faced. Before their father had passed away, he told them never to share the secret medicine. They couldn't betray their father. That night, the younger brother couldn't sleep. He thought he could collect his thoughts at the lake, but instead he found a young woman trying to walk straight down into the water there. "What are you doing?" he shouted as he ran over to her. "Please, just let me die. Please." "What are you saying?" The brother lifted her out of the water and asked her to explain herself. "I'll be honest with you. There's no way my father's falcon can be healed in 5 days, and he's the only family I have. If he's beheaded, then I'm as good as dead. I just want to be waiting for my dad, there to greet him in the afterlife." Hearing this, the younger brother went and brought her back some of the secret medicine. "Here, use this on your father's falcon. If you do, it'll be healed in 5 days, and you can share it with the other villagers too." "Is it really okay?" "Don't even think about killing yourself, okay? Just hurry up now. Go." "Thank you so much. I'll never forget what you've done for us." The girl headed home with tears in her eyes. The younger brother didn't tell his older brother what he'd done. And then, 5 days later, the secret was out. The secret was out, right? It was. Falcons of all the neighboring villages were flying again, and the nobleman was overjoyed. The falconers all breathed a sigh of relief. And the younger brother? The younger brother didn't go on the hunt that day. Instead, he put on a white robe, ready to die. He waited for his older brother to return. And then... what happened then? Upon returning, the older brother said this. "You don't regret what you did, do you?" "I don't." And then, the older brother lopped off his younger brother's head, right there on the spot. What? At that moment, the blood splattered across the leaves of the hypercums nearby, leaving black spots upon them that never went away. When somebody saw the flowers later, they started calling them OTO-GIRI-SOU, The brother cut flowers. Flowers each have a meaning. And... Wait, what exactly was the meaning of that flower? Weird. My mind just totally blanked. Was it like your first love or something? What, do you think a story like that was supposed to be a love story? Well, I mean, with the girl alone in the lake and all. There's no way it means your first love. What was it, though? It was something more to do with misfortune. I know it wasn't suicide, though. A flower that stands for suicide? I've never heard of anything so ridiculous. Nami laughed. I responded calmly. Not out of the question. I started laughing, too. I mean, no, yeah. I responded calmly. It's not out of the question. The big world out there. There's so many flowers with so many meanings. Hey, more importantly, are we heading the right way? I feel like this place looks really different compared to before. Now that she mentioned it, it did look different. I think we're going the right way. Now that you mention it, it's weird. This was supposed to be a shortcut. Huh. I've been choosing a lot of A paths. Now that you mention it, it's weird. This was supposed to be a shortcut. You mean your brain took a shortcut, right? Nami mocked my stupidity under her breath. This is no time to be joking around. We need to hurry. I pushed down on the gas pedal. Whoa! I turned the steering wheel quickly. I managed to dodge the car. Barely, but the car was careening downhill. Something wasn't right. The brakes weren't working. The car was gradually picking up speed. Alan! Brake! I'm stepping on the brakes. They're not doing anything. Well, do something! To my left was a big tree, and to my right was a river. We're gonna be fine. I pulled on the parking brake. I'm gonna take a gamble on that big tree there. We're gonna dive into the river. What if I just sit on this screen? Considering we've already picked up speed, the tree is probably not gonna do us much good. River's probably not a bad idea. We're gonna be fine. I pulled the parking brake. No dice. We're not gonna die, I shouted as I stepped on the brakes again, but it didn't do anything. Ah! Nami tucked her head down. I closed my eyes too, but I was so worked up that I kept screaming something. Alan? Huh? When I opened my eyes, I saw that the car had stopped. Nami had her eyes cast down and she was kind of blushing. Did I shout something embarrassing in the heat of the moment? Don't tell me I shouted that I loved her. Died out bashful I felt, I said. Are you okay, Nami? Yeah. Got out of the car. We could see a small light through the grass. Maybe it's a house. Does that seem the kind of place where you'd find a house? I certainly did sense some weird vibes coming from that direction. Oh. Huh? Seemed like the light started moving. Cut it out. There's a window, right? But I mean, just now. Kinda went swoosh. Beside. We decided to take a look through the forest. Nami covered her ears and squatted down. I gasped and watched the giant tree fall. The cedar tree had split in two, and it was smoldering, pushing black smoke up into the air. Below it, my car had been smashed beyond repair. How? As flat as a pancake, huh? Well, at least we're both alive. We should get going. We can't just stand around here after all. We fished out a bag with an extra set of clothes we'd packed and a flashlight, and started walking to what seemed like the light of a house. Hey, what if it's not a house? Nami seemed really scared. Maybe the lightning really shocked her. So... See, I'm gonna quicken my pace, and she's not going to be behind me anymore. Hoping to calm Nami down, I took her hand. Ah, no! She was acting like I groped her or something. Hey, Nami? Oh, sorry, Alan. Your face looked like some kind of dried up mummy for a second there. Huh? A mummy? Ah! Nami came over and clung to me. The rain's getting worse. Let's pick up the pace. Oh! Nami and I had both said the same thing at the same time. There was a line of nothing but... I'm gonna double check. Hypericum? Hypericum. Okay. Hypericum. There was a line of nothing but hypericums. Hypericums. Yeah. It looked almost like a path that was leading us toward the light. That's when I said... maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't go. It's not like we have any other options, though. Right. I started walking along with Nami. We were now standing right in front of an old Western-style mansion. Wow. What a mansion. That's quite a mansion there. Seems like it's haunted. Oh, stop. Don't fall for any of that occult stuff. Those are all just stories. Alan, are we really going in there? Telling myself not to be afraid, I stuck my chest out and hid my fear. Yeah. Telling myself not to be afraid, I stuck my chest out and hid my fear. Should be a good test of our courage. Let's go. Your voice is trembling, Alan. I was just adding a little vibrato to it. We don't have to do it if you don't want to. Let's turn back. That's exactly what I wanted to do, but I didn't want her to think of me as less of a man. We're gonna run in. Now shut up and follow my lead. My voice trembled again. We ran. Nami ran like a wild goat, falling about 5 meters behind me, which is about 15 feet by the time I reached the front gate. Let's go inside. And then... I felt lost about whether or not we should actually go inside. The gate gleamed black, wet with rain. Do you think it's locked? Only one way to find out. Nami put her hands on the iron bars. The gate, which looked so heavy, opened without any resistance. Going beyond the gate, we see that the spacious garden was covered entirely by yellow flowers. Hypericums. We stood there for a while, taking the sight of them in. Alan? There, in the middle of a storm and the hypericums, I said. We might as well just go in. I took Nami's hand and headed for the entrance. Wait! Several meters from the entrance, Nami stopped. Look at the shadow of that tree. Somebody's there. Where? I shined the flashlight over. The light reached over like a long arm to light up the shadow of the tree. Nobody's there. Then I moved the light up. Ah! It looked like a brown severed head had been stuck on a branch. It was all wrinkled up with rough skin that was stripped and speckled brown. You've got to be kidding me, I laughed. What? Look at it! It's a wasp nest. They're poisonous and powerful insects, though. Some people have been killed by the things. Let's go. Just then, the nest started to tremble. The swarm of wasps suddenly came flying out of the nests. Ah! Run, Nami. We had nowhere to hide but into the mansion. I took Nami's hand and we ran for our lives. We started banging on the door to the entrance. Help! Open the door, please! I don't know who's who. All of a sudden, the door opened. We fell in, as if we'd been swallowed up. The door slammed itself shut with a heavy-sounding thud. We We picked ourselves up and examined the door. How exactly had it been rigged to open and close like that? The door had led us to the entrance hall. Hello? Is anybody home? We shouted several times, nice and loud, but the only replies we got were our echoes. That's weird. They have the lights on, but they're not here. They must have forgotten to turn the lights off, I guess. There was a huge glass tank in the center of the room, and it was filled to the brim with murky water. It was a giant aquarium. The slight movement of the moss that stuck to the side was kind of creepy, but the water was stagnant. There was a huge clock in the room, and a large leather sofa. I feel like I've seen this room somewhere before, Nami said as she walked in front of me. There was a suit of armor with a dull silver gleam set beside the fireplace. I walked over to it. I was hoping to touch it, until Nami, who had been looking at the aquarium, called out to me. The water! Formerly stagnant water swirled and rocked, and something that clearly wasn't mud or moss peeked out from behind the glass. Whoa! Hey, did you see what that was? I could only wonder... Curious, I stepped towards the glass. There in the murky water, I saw something white slide along the glass wall. Oh, I saw something shining in there. Scales? Wait, is it a fish? Do fish even get that big? I focused my eyes on the glass. Something flipped up out of the water. Watch out! Alan! Whoa! It was a knife! It flew out of the murky water and slammed down at both of our feet. Fortunately, we were both okay, but I was dumbstruck by what just happened. How did that happen? Nami looked pretty pale there, too. I could hear a sound coming from somewhere. What was that? It was on the second floor. Nami's senses were really sharp in an emergency situation, apparently. Someone has got to be here, Nami said. Are you so sure? They didn't respond when we called out to them, though. Nami looked at the stairs leading up to the second floor. I don't think we're the only ones in this house. Why's that? We're being watched. Huh? It feels like somebody's watching us. I was creeped out at first, but then I came back to my senses. It's because of that suit of armor. It seemed like it was looking at us. Suddenly, I was at a loss for words. The suit of armor. Nami's jaw dropped too. The suit of armor that had been standing in the room up until now was gone. Somebody carried it away while we were distracted by the aquarium. There it is again! It's on the second floor, just as I thought. Let's go. We headed up the stairs. Thick wooden arm rails felt strangely cold to the touch. Be careful. Nami gently held onto my arm. As I climbed up, yeah, no. I figured whoever moved the suit of armor had to be up on the second floor. At the top of the stairs, a long hallway stretched to the left and right with several doors lined up on both sides. We looked around, cautiously. One of the doors was slightly ajar at the end of the hall. We headed over to that room. Excuse me? There wasn't any reply. I felt like something was off here. Let's head back. But this door was open. Nami called out into the room. We're letting ourselves in. We entered the room cautiously. There was a dim light set on a stand farther into the room. I could barely make out a small cloth-covered table. There was a thick notebook sitting on it. Judging by the cover, it appeared to be a diary. I approached it, thinking I'd pick it up and read it when... Oh, don't shut the door, Nami. Huh? It wasn't me. What? There's no way Nami would have done that. So, did the door shut on its own? At that moment, I checked out the door itself. Nami grabbed my hand. Hey, look a little closer there. I don't think that's a table. I tried to focus my eyes. There in the darkness. Ah! Ah! It wasn't a cloth table. It was a mummy. That old diary had been sitting on the mummy's lap, and there the mummy was, sitting in a wheelchair. Neither Nami nor I could bring ourselves to say anything. Then somebody laughed. No, it wasn't a laugh. It was the squeak of the rusty wheelchair. The mummy was gradually moving closer and closer. Oh! Nami, run! Nami and I both ran. The hallway was a long one. Whoa! Alan! I tripped on the stairs. Ow! I could feel pain racing through my body. And then, all of a sudden, my vision went dark. Power was out. It was dark now. Pitch black, even. Of all the times for the power to go out. Nami! Nami? She didn't respond. Nami! I began to panic. Nami was nowhere to be seen. I couldn't shake the image of the mummy there in the darkness from my mind. Whoa. What's that sound? Huh? There in the darkness, I felt like Nami had just been swallowed up by the darkness, so I couldn't stop myself from raising my voice. Nami! I tried calling for her many times, but all I got back were echoes, sadly. Something felt eerie about hearing my own voice as my outstretched hands grabbed hold of only darkness. Darkness. They say that it's always darkest before the dawn, but this was true darkness. It was the first time in my life experiencing true darkness, and in it, I felt like I had turned to stone. Oh! I touched something. It felt like a girl's hair. Nami. I reached out as if I was in a dream. I reached out and grasped the girl's skin. It was cold. I let go, surprised. You're not Nami! What had I just grabbed? Where are you, Alan? I saw the light of the flashlight that Nami was holding. You were here? It seemed like Nami had taken the flashlight out of the bag that was in the entrance hall. Nami lit up the area. The place was empty. Aside from me and Nami, there weren't any traces of a single living thing around. What's the matter? Nami looked at me inquisitively. Whoa! Oh my! Nami had pointed the flashlight down to reveal a black cat with a bell on it, sitting at my feet. Here, kitty kitty. Nami offered her hand to coax it to come over to her. It's so cute! Nami picked it up. You really scared me there. When I raised my hand up to the cat, it quickly jumped out of Nami's arms and ran off. Oh. For a brief moment, the cat glowed with a green light. A green cat? Did it go to where the mummy was, maybe? The mummy. That's right. We had seen a mummy. But what was a mummy doing in modern-day Japan? Is that really even what we saw? Do you want to go back and check it again? Okay, let's do it, I said, my voice trembling. We reached the mummy's room that we had been in just a short while ago. I'm gonna open it up. Okay. Nami. I really am gonna open it. Hurry up and do it, Alan. I quickly turned the doorknob. I timidly took a peek inside, but I only saw the electric stand on the ground. There was no trace of the mummy. How strange. Ah, it's on. The light was back on. The small stand was lit again, as well as the chandelier in the hallway. Oh, a cat! A black cat had come out from under the table. Here, kitty kitty. Nami crouched down and picked it up. How strange. I looked around the room. Were we just seeing things? You saw it too, Nami? Right? She didn't reply. She was entirely focused on the cat. I picked up the book, which had fallen on the floor. I opened it up. It was a diary. The entry I saw was dated 6 years ago. While flipping through the pages, I suddenly found a page that was bright red. It's blood. Huh? There was nothing written on the page. And a Hypericum had been stuck there as a bookmark. It was covered in a blackish red liquid. And it's still fresh. Upon seeing the diary, Nami started to look a little green. I muttered to myself, Could this be the mummy's blood? Hey, what's that sound? Something was approaching the hallway. Could it be that suit of armor that vanished earlier? That's ridiculous. Sound stopped right in front of the door. Oh, the cat! The kitty jumped through the gap in the doorway and went into the hallway. We held our breath and we looked at the door, but we didn't get the sense that anything was about to happen. We took a look through the gap, but we didn't see anybody there. It's strange, isn't it? This is creeping me out. Let's leave the mansion already. Naomi sounded afraid when she said it. I replied, Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a wise decision. We looked around as we headed down the stairs. We made it back to the entrance hall. However... Huh? There are shutters over the windows. There were 2 windows in the entrance hall, but both of them were sealed from the outside by iron shutters. When did those get here? Nami, check the door. I checked the shutters on the window. No good. It's totally sealed shut here. The door won't open either. So you're saying we're trapped in here? No way. No. Couldn't have been intentional. Whoever owns the house probably came back. What should we do? I was confused and it was hard to come up with any ideas. There ain't gonna be a damn phone in this house. Yeah. There's gotta be somebody here. Let's go find out where they are. No, I'm scared. There's certainly been a lot to be creeped out by, but we haven't been directly harmed by any of it. And we're the ones who broke into this place, so we need to explain ourselves to whoever's here. You're right, but... Okay. Nami agreed with me, reluctantly. Headed to the back of the entrance hall. The hallway stretched to the left and right. Which way should we go? I asked. Let's search on the right, where there were more doors. We went down the corridor to the right. Hey, there are a lot of doors here. How will we choose? We'll save the doors further down for later. Let's open one of the doors that's closest to us. Which one? This way. I can smell something strange. I opened the door. Behind it was a room that was being used as a library. The rows of books were packed tight on the shelves, without any gaps between them. There sure are a lot of books here. I wonder if they've read them all. I passed my flashlight over the spines. Nearly all the books were of Western origin. There, a lamp oil can had fallen over in the corner of the room. This would explain the stench. The surrounding carpet was discolored, presumably due to the oil that must have spilled out of the can. Pretty dangerous, huh? Hey, let's just leave. Doesn't look like there's anything in here after all. Nami tugged at my arm. You're right. We left the room. After we walked from the hallway to the entrance hall, Nami spoke up. Hey, is that a phone under the... There's a phone? It really is. It was a black dial-up phone. Hey, we can call home from here. Nami couldn't hold back a smile. But could we even get anybody to drive all the way out here? Let's try calling home to find out. Sure. I held the phone up to my ear. All right. Whoa! An iron axe swooped down just in front of my face. When I looked up, I saw that the suit of armor I thought had vanished was suddenly standing next to the aquarium. I approached the suit of armor with caution and lifted the helmet. It was totally empty. Of course it's empty. Yeah, of course it is. Ah! Nami screamed so loud. What's the matter? It cut the cord! That axe just cut the phone's cord! What? I quickly put the phone up to my ear. I couldn't hear the dial tone. I stupidly tried to dial a number anyway, but the phone was clearly dead. There was no response. It's not going to work now. There was no point in even trying. I hung up the phone and stood back up. Not much we can do about it. We'll have to find another way. You can't be serious. The The sound of ringing echoed through the spacious hall. Why? This doesn't make any sense. Then Yeah. I sighed and picked up the phone. Hello? I couldn't hear anything. Hello? More ringing. It's a different phone. The phone was ringing somewhere else in the mansion. One over there, too. What's going on? I could hear more phones ringing. Hello? I shouted into the phone in my hands, but I couldn't hear anything from it. Who is it? I don't know. It won't say anything. It stopped ringing. Another noise came from the second floor. Strange phones ringing, and now more noises. We had to find out where they're hiding. I could see tears welling up in Nami's eyes. It made me so angry. Enough of this. I know you're hiding somewhere. Whoever you are. Stop it right now and show yourself. My voice echoed in vain throughout the hall. I'll find you. I'm gonna hunt you down and find you. Just you wait. Wait, don't go by yourself. Please. I ignored Nami's cries and raced up the stairs. Get out here. Show yourself. At the top of the stairs, I slammed down the nearest door as hard as I could, but there was no reply. I'm coming in. At that moment, a chill raced through my entire body. The anger that I had felt was gone, replaced by an icy chill running down my spine. Alan? What is this? Its strange presence has caused Nami to freeze too, right at the entrance. There was a single wooden coffin in the room. The sort that you might expect to find Dracula sleeping in. It was surrounded by many candles that had been lit. I reached out to the coffin, as if I was drawn to it somehow. Stop it! What are you doing? Nami shouted. I knew in my head that what I was doing was wrong, but I couldn't help it. I opened the lid of the coffin. It was filled with yellow hypericum flowers in full bloom. On the top of them was a single piece of calligraphy paper that had been cut out in the shape of a person. The two letters written on it spelled out a single word in Japanese, Fukushu, revenge. Nami was standing next to me, though I wasn't sure how long she'd been there. Hey, that reminds me. I looked at Nami. That's the meaning of the hypericum flower. Revenge. Revenge? The meaning of the hypericum flower is revenge? Nami muttered to herself as she stared at the piece of paper shaped like a person. Nami. Her face was pale. Let's get out of here. I took her by the hand. I feel something very wrong here. I may be pretty dense sometimes, but even I can sense this much. Let's leave. I pulled Nami out of the room and shut the door with both my hands, as if I was sealing away something very unpleasant. The next room will be this one. I approached the door on the other side. You're going to keep looking for them? Nami asked, seemingly about to cry. I can't just kick back and relax now, can I? I raised my voice at her. We might even have to spend the whole night here. Is the owner of this house just a little freaky, or are they actually trying to hurt us? We have to try to find out that much at least. As I went on this rant, Nami just stayed quiet. I ripped the door open. There was a window on the other end of the room, with a small desk in the left corner. There was also a bed. It was a very ordinary room. There's nothing here, is there? I closed the door. There's a room we still have yet to check. Over there. I intentionally said this in the most calm and formal tone I could muster, and I went further down into the hallway. Nami followed me silently. We saw it before, though. Just in case, I took a peek into the room where we met with the mummy, but as I expected, there wasn't a mummy in there. The diary remained exactly where it had been dropped to. 2 more rooms. I opened the door across from the mummy's room. Oh! What's the matter? Nami took a peek inside, and when I looked at her, I saw that she had a relieved expression on her face. Looks like a girl's room, huh? Curtains, the bed, the wallpaper, everything was color-coordinated in white and light pink. All sorts of decorations and vases had been neatly arranged. I knew somebody was here. I felt a little relieved. Somebody lives here for sure, yeah. Should we go in and look around? No, that would be a little... None of the rooms we'd seen had seemed lived in, which made me feel like some kind of brave explorer, but this room felt different somehow. It suddenly hit me that I was doing something that I knew in my heart wasn't a polite thing to do. We can't go in here when she's not around. I mean, it's a girl's room. Yeah, you're right. Why won't she come out if she's here? Don't tell me she's hiding just to pop out and scare us for a laugh. Alright, what's clear is that we haven't met anybody yet, and I still want to give them a piece of my mind. Let's go looking for them for real. I shut the door. I wonder if they aren't in here. I stood in front of the next door, but when I turned the doorknob, Nami suddenly grabbed my hand. Huh? Not here. What's wrong with you? What's with the scary look on your face? Hey, let's just stop. She looked serious. What's with you all of a sudden? Let's just stop, okay? Please? It's like I know something bad will happen here, especially in this room. Just stop here, if only just for this room. Why, though? Why is this one room off limits? It just is. That doesn't make any sense. They might be in here, you know? No, I don't think they are. I'm sure they aren't in here, okay? Let's go already. Let's go back downstairs. She pulled me by the hand. What's the big deal? I just want to take a look in this one last room. I shook off Nami's hand and grabbed the doorknob. But it wouldn't open. Huh? Is it locked? See? I told you. We should just stop. Oh, I know what's going on. They screwed around with us and now they're hiding in here. Hello? Is anybody in there? Hello? There was no response from behind the door. Upon closer inspection, the four corners of the door had been nailed shut. This door can't have been opened. Or can't be opened. Hey, Alan. I'm hungry. Huh? That came out of nowhere. I really am, though. I'm starving. Can we look for something to eat? Yeah, let's go to the kitchen. They've got to have something we can eat there. But you're hungry too, right, Alan? We haven't eaten since this afternoon. That's true, but hey, let's go down and find something. Whoever owns this house might be down there too. Sure, I guess. I ended up getting pushed along by Nami. After we went down the stairs, she headed forward on her own, walked up to a door and grabbed the knob without any hesitation. Let's hurry in, Alan. Something didn't seem right to me. How do you even know if this is the kitchen, Nami? Huh? Now that you mention it, Nami looked at me, surprised. I just had a feeling. It was like my feet just carried me here. It's weird, isn't it? Either way, let's go inside. It's pitch black in here, but it smells great. This has got to be the dining room. I flipped the switch on the wall. There was a long table in the center of the room, and on it were plates stacked with food. But the thing is, what happened here? Everything was a total mess. The meat dishes sauce had been splattered everywhere, including over the napkins on the table, which got splotched brown. The fish had been chewed up from head to tail, which had attracted some flies. Knocked over bowls were scattered here and there, causing the soup they once held to drip off the edges of the table. Did that cat do this? Seems like it, huh? The fruit appeared to be untouched, but it was overripe and turning black. It didn't look appetizing at all. What should we do, Nami? Maybe there's something in the fridge? Huh? What's wrong? The look on your face is scaring me. That, just now, I looked around. Did you hear that? Hear what? It sounded like a woman shrieking. I didn't hear anything. You didn't just imagine it, did you? No, I'm sure I heard it for real. It came from over there. I approached the window. It was too dark to see outside, but I had a bad feeling about what it might be. Wait. I'll go and take a quick look. I stepped away from the window and headed for the exit. Hold on. What are you doing? Something might have happened, and I'm curious to find out. Wait for me. I'm going too. We left the dining room. Hey, hand me your lighter for a second. What are you doing? Nami was holding a candlestick. It was from the dining room table. I felt a little uneasy about not having a light of my own. Thanks. Here, you can have your lighter back. Nami held the now lit candlestick and gripped my flashlight, and I gripped my flashlight as we walked slowly down the hall. Hey, did you really hear someone? I could see doubt in Nami's eyes as she looked at me. Yeah, it sounded like he. It was a long and mournful cry. Creepy. Yeah, it sounded like he. It was a long and mournful cry. Creepy. She furrowed her brow. But why would they be screeching like that? Could it be a burglar? Burglar? Certainly possible. It would explain why the lights are on even when the owner isn't home. The hallway veered to the left and continued to the back of the mansion. The hallway there was tight, and the ceiling was getting lower, too. What's more, it felt strangely gloomy there. It was likely we'd veered off of the main road into some back alley. My flashlight lit up a small iron door just ahead. It came from behind that door. There's something creepy about this door, don't you think? Almost like they're conducting some sort of secret experiments in there. It was just like Nami said. The door had been painted clumsily, and almost all of that paint had fallen off, leaving the metal door entirely red with rust. I wonder if it's open. I put my hand on the doorknob. There's that voice. You heard it this time, didn't you? The same voice as before. Nami stared wide-eyed at me and shook her head in denial. We're going in. I hurled the door open. I got struck in the face by a blast of wind and water. It was the back door, huh? I can't see anything out there. When I shined my flashlight outside, something to the right reflected the light. It's a greenhouse. Was the shrieking coming from in there? Oh! I could hear Nami shout behind me. What happened? The flame went out. Nami held the candlestick in her hand, looking at me reproachfully. Well, of course it would. And we're going out in the rain, so... What should I do with it? We can't use it out there, so just leave it here. I set the candlestick at my feet and tugged at Nami's hand. Alright, let's go. Hand in hand, we trudged through the mud. Our clothes, which had just started to dry, were soaking wet almost instantly, and our shoes became heavy from all the mud. Do you think somebody's in there? Nami asked me quietly. I doubt it. What? So we came out here for no reason? I mean, not anyone who's alive, anyway. No way. The expression on Nami's face changed instantly. If anybody was in there, they would have seen us shining a flashlight at them. There wasn't any response, so that would mean that they would have already had to be... Why do you always have to scare me saying stuff like that? Nami looked like she was about to cry. We looked through the glass and saw that it was totally dark in there. I shined the flashlight inside. Oh! Nami and I both shouted at the same time. There they are again. They were hypericum. Hypericum flowers inside. Or hypericum. Small yellow flowers were mixed in with all the other ornamental plants. A greenhouse of revenge. Oh, a greenhouse of revenge, Nami said in a whisper. Don't say it like that. It's creeping me out. What? Look who's talking. We cautiously shined the light in as we walked around the greenhouse, but we made it to the other side without encountering anything out of the ordinary. We're outside, aren't we? Even if we're in a walled-off area, could we, if we really want to get out, could we not just climb whatever, like, fenced-in or bricked-in area we're in? Why do I have to do the choice between going back to the mansion and going to the greenhouse? Should we go inside the greenhouse, too? I turned in... Yeah, let's go to the greenhouse. Should we go into the greenhouse, too? I turned and faced the entrance. We've seen enough, haven't we? Well, you know. And at that moment... Huh? What? When I shined the light at the greenhouse door, I saw it swaying in the wind. I looked over at Nami's face. Her mouth was agape, and she looked at me out of the corner of her eyes. Uh-oh. All right, I'll race you to the door then. I broke into a run. What gives? That shrieking was just the sound of this door? Nami shouted as if to scold me. This is a race, you know. You'd better get moving. I paid her no mind and kept running. Wait up! Ah! When I looked back, I saw that she had fallen right on her butt in the mud. You made me fall, you jerk! I started laughing just as I reached the door. Wait! It's too dark! I can't see anything! At the entrance, I turned around and shined the light over towards Nami so she could see. The corner of the light hit the door, and the second I saw it, my smile froze up. You made it here first. Nami came over, looked at me, and said, got that scary expression on your face again, but you're not fooling me this time. I gestured with my head towards the glass door. You can be so dumb, you know, she said, and then she looked over. There it was, written on the glass door in big red letters, Nami. The light that reflected off the glass illuminated us as we stood there looking at it in the rain. It's gotta be a coincidence, I said as I... Man, I hate that I don't know who's talking until afterwards. It's gotta be a coincidence, I said, but I knew deep down inside that a voice had drawn me here. Even if it actually was a coincidence, why would her name be written here? Nami looked pale as she looked there in the rain, as she stood there in the rain, dumbfounded. She said nothing, her eyes transfixed upon the glass as it swayed back and forth. The door creaked again as the wind blew it. Let's go back, I said, making it a point to sound cheerful, but Nami didn't respond at all. Let's go! I tugged at Nami's hand firmly. She didn't budge. Why? How? You're just overthinking it. Am I? It has to be a coincidence. It has to. This is the first time we've ever been here, for one. So someone who was here had the same name as you. So what? And yeah, sure, it's weird for somebody to write their name in a place like this, but if we asked whoever lives here, they'd probably have some funny story about it. I'm sure they would. I talked loudly without pausing, trying to shout away the fear that I felt inside. Yeah, Nami said quietly as she nodded. Catch a cold if we stay out in the rain like this. Let's head back. I pulled Nami away and we kept walking. Even after we returned to the mansion, Nami looked gloomy. I felt sorry for her. Why did she have to see that? It was all my fault. How could I make her feel better? Oh, that's it. Hey, I said to her, cheerfully. What? Feel like using their shower? What? Nami looked at me, stunned. You're covered in mud, after all. But it's fine, it's fine. I think they might have one over that way. I went on ahead. I turned right down the hallway. I reached a frosted glass door. This is it. I grabbed the handle. It was totally dark inside. I shined my flashlight in and, just as I thought, it was a bathroom. There was a white sink and a large mirror on the left. On the other side was a Western-style toilet next to a sliding glass door. The shower was probably on the other side of that door. I'm terrified of any choice that may even imply us separating in some way. Because, I'm worried that, option B is going to be like, all right, Nami, ladies first, and she's going to walk into the bathroom, start washing her hands, and then the door closes. But A could be interpreted as me going in first, and then the door closes. You can wash your hands first, Nami. I let Nami go before me. Okay. Sink had a long, curved faucet. For some reason, maybe due to the seal on the faucet getting old, water continued to drip from it constantly. Nami turned the faucet on. The white sink became stained red. It's blood! Nami clung to my shoulder. No, it's not. It's rust. It's just rust. The red water started to clear up. The pipes have got to be getting pretty old. Hey, it's already better. I rinsed my hand in the running water. Nami seemed to be getting edgy. I wanted to help her get back to the way she was before. Hey, there isn't any soap here, is there? You must want soap, yeah, Nami? Oh, I'm fine with just water. There was something odd about her modest reply. Nami was normally the type who would insist on using soap. Maybe we should check the bath. I cast my gaze through the sliding glass door there. Oh, I'll go take a look. Nami entered the shower room. I'll search over here, okay? I opened the cabinet beside the mirror. It was dusty, as though it hadn't been used in a long time. There was a toothbrush with yellow bristles and a tube of toothpaste that was sealed despite being totally flat and empty. A woman's razor was there too, but it looked like it hadn't been used in a long while. It was rusty and had small bits of hair stuck to it. I was grossed out by it. I closed the cabinet. I glanced at the mirror and saw Nami's face there. I looked at Nami's face in the mirror as I asked her, "Did you find any soap?" "No." Nami's voice echoed from the shower. "Oh." "Huh?" I turned around, surprised. "What's wrong? What's that weird look for?" Nami said as she came out of the shower room. "Nami, you were in there the whole time, right?" "Yeah, why?" There's no way I could have seen her reflection in the mirror while she was in the shower room. Something happened? Nami's expression darkened. "I wouldn't say that exactly." My answer was intentionally vague. I didn't want to scare her any more than she already was. Plus, it's possible that I might have just been seeing things. "So yeah, how about that soap?" I smiled and returned to the topic at hand. "There wasn't any." "How about here, then?" Squatted down and opened the door under the sink. Ugh! A very unpleasant, rotten, and muddy odor drifted out from inside. I held my breath and looked in. An S-shaped pipe ran down the center, and on the right side of it were cleaning fluids, pesticides, shampoo bottles, and plastic bags strewn about like junk. It was if the water from the old pipes had mixed together with dust and chemicals that had spilled out of the fallen bottles. It made me want to throw up. They really keep soap in a place like this? I don't think so. I took out a big plastic box that I found on the left side of the pipe. Inside of it was a wooden box with a cross on it. This must be a medicine box, yeah? There's something underneath it. Hold the medicine box up, Nami. Nami grabbed the handle of the medicine box and lifted it up. The moment she did, 4 bugs with black, greasy-looking wings crawled out from under the box. "Ah! Cockroaches!" Nami screamed and hurled the medicine box onto the floor. When the box hit the floor, the lid flew open, scattering some medicine bottles and packets across the floor. Cockroaches vanished in an instant into the corners of the room and under the door. They were gone. Ah, the medicine scattered everywhere. I laughed as I rushed to stop the rolling bottles of medicine. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that." "Oh, I'll pick it up." Nami, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I'll pick it up." Nami kneeled down and started putting all the medicine back in its place. "Hey, there aren't any more of them, are there? The cockroaches, I mean?" "I don't think there are." "Hey, there it is. The soap." I stood up and turned on the faucet. Nami was still picking up the medicine that had scattered everywhere. "Go ahead and wash your hands first, now that we found the soap." "Okay." Sounded like a half-hearted reply. It wouldn't be good to touch medicine with dirty hands anyway, after all. "True." Nami stood next to me and started washing her hands. As we washed the mud from our hands and arms, I watched the dirty black water spiraling down and getting swallowed up by the drain. "Hey, Alan?" "What?" "Something occurred to me when I was putting the medicine back. There was a lot of unfamiliar types of medicine in there." "Unfamiliar?" "I'd never seen them before." "Show me." I was a little interested. "Hold on a second, okay?" Nami plucked up a couple different kinds of medicine. "See for yourself." I took one of them, a tube of some sort of medicine, and read the label. Chloromycetin, formulated by fibrinolysin. Fuck, sure. What's that? I opened the cap and squeezed the tube. Some white cream came out. Looks like it's some sort of anti-itch cream. Didn't have that distinctive peppermint odor, though. And other than the hard-to-pronounce name on the label, nothing else was written on it. I read another tube's label. Vitamin E fortified sulfonam sulfonamide. Nami suddenly looked shocked. Sulfonamide. Oh my goodness. Sulfonamide was used as a defoliant during the Vietnam War. A defoliant? Why would they have a vitamin E fortified defoliant? The label stated what it was used for. No, it looked like it's used to treat burns. Let's check out some of the other medicines too. I was getting curious. Topical coagulant? Heparin? Stolcacerol? These are all keloid drugs? What the fuck is a keloid? To be clear, I wasn't familiar with any of this beforehand. It was just written there on the labels. Nami picked up one of the medicines on the floor and popped off the lid. Hey, look! It's a weird color. The plastic container was simple and round, and it contained purple gel capsules. I've never seen medicine this color before. Then again, I guess I haven't really seen any of this sort of medicine before either. Right? Nami gave me a smile. I could only describe it as triumphant. But there sure are a lot of cream-type medicines here, aren't there? They all seem to be treatments for burns. Did somebody who lives here get burned? It would explain why there are so many varieties, though. It wouldn't explain why there are so many varieties, though. Well, whatever. Now that this is all cleaned up, let's take a shower already. Oh, wait a minute. There's still one more on the floor over there. Small and brown glass bottle had rolled on the floor. Its cap was open. It's empty, yeah? No, there's something light yellow in there. Could this be a cream, too? There was only a smattering of the goopy, light yellow medicine in there. A handwritten label had been stuck on the bottle. The paper looked really old, worn, and discolored. Acronol. Since it... Tinct? What? Not sure. It's so hard to read because the label's all worn out. Acronoltint oil? You know what that is? It's another kind of burn medication. How'd you know that? Nami looked surprised, as if she thought it was common knowledge. What do you mean, how? That sort of medicine has been around for so long. Are you sure about that? Maybe you're getting the wrong idea, like earlier when you thought it was a defoliant. I gave a mean-spirited laugh, and Nami snatched the bottle away from me and closed it up in the medicine box. If you don't believe me, then fine. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I believe you. I totally do. Anyway, it really was another burn medication after all. I stood up, tilting my head to the side, and opened the glass door to go inside. The floor was covered in light blue tiles, and a white Western-style bathtub was there. There were tiles on the walls, too, but they were all cracked and had black mildew growing all over them, to the point where it was hard to even see the tiles. The shower was small, considering how big the mansion was. After getting out of the tub, there was only enough room to dry yourself off. Maybe this is normal for a Western-style bathroom. We won't be able to take a shower together, will we? What? What? Did you say something? No, nothing at all. I'll be fine taking a shower alone. You heard what I said, huh? Nami stepped into the shower room. Hey, I wonder if this place has hot water. I tried turning the shower handle just a little. As I expected, the water came out red and cold. I guess that's a no? Turned the handle even more, almost giving up on the idea. But no, after a while, the water cleared up as it started to warm up. I put my hand under the water. Ah, it's nice and warm. Is it? Nami reached out to touch it too. A mean impulse kicked in, and I flipped the hot water off. Nami glared at me, just a little, and she retreated to the bathroom. Are you mad? She didn't reply. Back in the bathroom, she moved to take the towel hanging at the side. You're going to use their towel? What's the big deal? I'll just dry myself off with it after I'm clean. It's no different from drying your hands, she said curtly, walking past me, and proceeded to the shower. You're going to shower in your clothes? I'll take them off inside, obviously. Oh, okay. All right, I'll go first. Nami shut the door. Oh, this door's tight. It won't shut all the way. The sliding door rattled around, not shutting as it should. What are you so upset about? Who cares if it doesn't shut all the way? Just leave it like that. But then I can't lock it. She gave me a scared look. Don't peek, okay? I won't peek. You promised? If you peek, we're through. Yeah. In the end, she had to shower without locking the door. Through the frosted glass, I could faintly see her hanging up her towel and taking off her clothes. I was glad that Nami looked like she was back to normal, and just then a thought occurred to me. I tried not to look, as I'd promised. Oh, right. We forgot our change of clothes. I'm going to get our stuff at the entrance. Be right back. I called out to Nami and left the sink. I picked up my bag, sighed, and looked around the entrance hall. It was quiet. I looked at the clock there and saw that it pointed to just about 10 o'clock. All sorts of weird stuff has been happening here, but I think we'll be able to make it to morning somehow. There it was again. Sound of that armor. I looked at where the suit of armor should have been, and it was gone. The sound seemed to be coming from the bathroom. I returned to the hall. The sound seemed to be moving away from me, as if the armor had turned down the hall. I started running. But just as I approached the front of the bathroom, I suddenly heard Nami scream from inside. Ah! What's wrong, Nami? I opened the bathroom door in a panic. I came into the room at the exact same time that Nami hopped out of the shower. Nami's wet white skin pierced my eyes. She was totally naked. Ah, ah, ah! She looked straight into my eyes. Nami squatted down. Get out! Get out! She had curled up and shouted as loud as she could. Sorry. I flew out into the hallway. Turn around. Okay, sure. Nami noisily shut the glass door. Hey, are you okay? What happened? You know that wasn't on purpose, right? I was worried about you. It was true that I was worried about her, but it's also true that I felt lucky to see what I saw. No, don't come in right now. Absolutely not. Her voice still had an edge to it. I tried to calm her down with a softer tone of voice. I know. I won't go in until you say it's okay. Are you all right, though? You said it was hot. You didn't get burned, did you? I'm fine. I got hit by a little hot water. Just hold on a second. What happened? The water got so hot all of a sudden. I tried to stop it, but it just kept pouring out. And it's so cramped in there was nowhere to run, so I flew right out of the shower. It must have happened because this place is so run down. Are you okay? You didn't get burned, did you? I'm fine. I got out right away, after all. I'll leave the clothes back here. I set the bag in front of the glass door. The door opened slightly, and Nami reached out for it. All good, Nami spoke up after staying silent for a while. There was a lot of steam drifting from inside, and the lukewarm steam stuck to my skin. Nami had already finished changing and started drying her hair in front of the mirror. Her cheeks blushed, having come right out of the shower. Sorry about what happened earlier. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Or who's saying who? Sorry about what happened earlier. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I peeked into the shower room. There was still a lot of steam, and the shower was still spraying out hot water. I reached out and touched it. Ow! It's boiling. Told you. If you'd stayed a second later, you would have been badly burned. Oh, right. Maybe that's why there was so much burn medication in there, huh? A mini light bulb started flickering above my head. Oh, but it doesn't add up. Why would they only treat their wounds? Wouldn't people generally fix the bath? Well, I can't talk about what goes on in a stranger's house. I'm just glad we're okay. What should we do, though? It's too hot to reach in there and turn off the shower. We can't just leave it running either. Oh, that's it. I remembered seeing a big machine out in the back. Judging by where I saw it, I wondered if it might have been the boiler. I'll go take a quick look at the boiler room. There was a boiler room? I saw something that might have been. I'll go take a look. Will you be okay? I'll be fine. I'll be back before you know it. I said, and then left the bathroom. Why are we splitting up? There's I passed through the dark hallway and through the iron door, remembering the sound of the suit of armor. Could it be just beyond the door? I gulped and turned the doorknob. I opened the door as quickly as I could and jumped backwards. Nothing was there. Whew. The rain had almost entirely stopped. Guess I'd better get going, huh? I was about to step out when a hand grabbed me by the shoulder. Ah! It was Nami. What's the big idea? I shouted at her. Can you blame me? I was scared all by myself. She spoke to me in a sweet voice. Can I just ask you not to surprise me? think you shaved 10 years of my lifespan just now. Oh, come on. Okay, I know. Should we go together? I'll get dirty again if I go back out, though. What do you expect me to do, then? Don't get mad. Where's that boiler room, anyway? You can see the light from the bathroom over there, right? Looks like there's a room leading down underneath it. So it's close, I guess. I'll stay here, then. Just come back quickly. What? Weren't you just saying how close it is? Aren't you coming along? I don't want to get muddy again. After taking another look at Nami, I noticed that she wasn't wearing any shoes. Oh, right. I see. I'll get going, then. I headed down the concrete steps. Come back here if anything dangerous happens, okay? What kind of dangerous things do you think will happen? I walked along with my left hand touching the wall. As I walked, I heard the sound of the wet leaves I was jostling. Eventually, the wall suddenly opened up to reveal the entrance. I went down the dark staircase, shining my flashlight ahead. There in the darkness, I saw a large and smooth silver machine. Several metallic pipes came out of the top and went right through the walls and ceiling. Just as I thought, it's the boiler. I shined the flashlight to take a closer look at the device before me. What's up with this? The temperature needle was set to over 80 degrees Celsius. Sorry, filthy American here. 176 degrees Fahrenheit, damn! Oh, damn! Oh my god, that's 176 degrees Fahrenheit. Even now, it was climbing higher. It was only just getting warmed up earlier. I'd hate to think what would have happened to Nami if she'd been hit by the water now. I felt a chill run down my spine. Having found the temperature control knob, I found myself surprised once more. The dial had been set to a whopping 100 degrees Celsius, 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Why is it set this high? And what's more, it was making a weird noise. Who knows? Maybe the boiler was as old as the house itself. I turned the knob down about halfway to 40 degrees Celsius. Now we'll just have to wait and see what happens. How did it go? Nami asked me when I made it back. I found out the problem there. The boiler's temperature was set to 100 degrees Celsius. What? Nami was stunned. You got out right away, so I'm guessing it was up to about 50 degrees at that time. You know what it was when I got to the boiler? 80 degrees. That would have killed you. I started talking a little faster as I headed back to the mansion. Why would anyone set it to 100 degrees? It'd be too hot to get in. Don't ask me. But it should be fine now. I set it back down to 40. Should be back to normal soon enough. I'll pass on another shower. It's too scary. And I got the mud off me already. Hey, it's your call. You already changed too, yeah? We returned to the bathroom. I wonder if the temperature really went down. I opened the shower's sliding door. Whoa! At that moment, hot steam blasted out at me. The steam was white. It looked just like a cloud, but the temperature of the shower's water had already gone down. I reached out and turned it off. It's off now, anyway. Glad that's settled. Nami chuckled. Hey, what time is it? I remembered seeing the clock earlier. I think it's just past 10. Huh? Weren't you wearing a watch? Huh? Weren't you wearing a watch, Nami? I guess I must have dropped it somewhere. I know I had it when we were in the dining room, though. Oh? Well, I'll help you look for it. But, I made an effort to put on a weak expression. Sorry, but would you actually mind if I took a shower first? The steam made me really want to take a shower. I'll be out in 5 minutes tops. The water's already warm after all. Shouldn't be a problem. You don't need to explain yourself. All right. Just wait a second first. Nami went into the shower and took her shorts and polo shirts and squeezed them out. That's what she was wearing earlier before the shower. There must be a problem with the pipes. The water isn't going down. I looked down. The level seemed to have dropped a bit, but the water didn't appear to be going down. Something stuck in the pipes. Checked around to see if there was a plug, but I couldn't find anything. I peered through a gap in the wall drain on the tub. Yuck! Long black hair had clumped together and waved in the water like seaweed. It was too long to be Nami's hair. This must be what had plugged it up. It creeped me out, making me think of a drowned body. I hesitated for a moment, closed my eyes, and plunged my right hand into the warm water. I could feel the long, thin hair tickle my hand and fingers. I forced myself not to pay attention to it and grabbed dozens of strands, then I gave them a tug. It felt like a part of it opened up, some of the strands of hair having been ripped off. I pulled at it a good while, sometimes weakly, sometimes harder, and everything in between. Eventually, the hair split into two clumps, and far more hair than I ever imagined plopped up from under the water. The wet hair that I pulled up was all twisted together. It looked like some kind of wild animal. I gritted my teeth and left the room. Nami took a look at what I'd pulled out, covering her mouth with her hands, and looked away. I don't blame her. It was filthy and muddy. The word disgusting wasn't enough to capture it. I threw it all into a trash can just beside the sink and rolled out a ton of toilet paper that was hung on the wall to wipe all the hair off my arms. Maybe someone got a haircut recently? I said, playing dumb, trying to brush aside how creeped out I was. But it wasn't just a joke. It's hard to believe that much hair could clump together just from hair that fell out naturally. I washed my hands from water from the sink and more soap than I'd normally use. How does it look now? Is it still clogged? The water started to go down. Great. There might still be hair in there, but as long as it's good enough for me to take a shower, I'm okay with it. All I know is I never want to touch it again. Alright, I'm going in. I'll get out as soon as I can. Sorry if somebody comes back home in the meantime. Okay. Nami turned to the sink and started washing her own clothes. I forced the door to close, putting a little muscle into it, and I heard it snap shut completely. Hey, it does shut after all, huh? The water was hot, but it wouldn't be so hot that I couldn't get in anymore. I slowly climbed into the tub. I splashed some warm water against my face and let out a big sigh. I felt like I'd been brought back from the dead. You know, the house might as well not come back at this point. We could get some rest and be out of here in the morning. I felt better, and so did my thoughts. Though what I was thinking was pretty selfish. It won't be that easy, though, will it? I twisted the handle to turn on the shower. The water wasn't ridiculously hot anymore. It felt nice. I had been careless, though. I'd forgotten the soap and a towel. I rubbed off the mud that was on my feet using my hands. The mud turned the water dark. The Western-style bath for you. I could say whatever I wanted using somebody else's bath. I liked how it made me feel. Okay, it's about time I got out, huh? I said it extra loud, so Nami would be able to hear, but there was no reaction in the other room. I knocked on the door. I'm coming out! No response. Weird. Did she go somewhere? Oh, I know. She's hiding so she could surprise me. With that in mind, I put my hand on the door and said, I know you're there. But the door wouldn't open. It opened wide enough to maybe get a finger through, but then it snapped shut again. Come on, I know you're just screwing around with me. Open up. Convinced that Nami was holding the door shut, I rattled the door, tapping it, and pulled it. But it really did start to seem like Nami wasn't even there. It must be because I forced the door shut. I tried lifting the door and pushing it in all sorts of different directions. But no matter what I did, the door would only rattle. It showed no signs of opening. Suddenly, hot water from the shower that I knew I turned off came back on. I tested the handle and confirmed that it had been completely turned off. You've got to be kidding me. I had a bad feeling about this. Nami! Open the door! Nami! I shouted as loud as I could, but there was no response. I looked down and saw the metal bar about the size of a stick of chewing gum had been wedged into the rail of the sliding door. What's this? It had been put there to prevent the door from opening. Clearly, this thing was the reason why I couldn't open the door. I tried to remove it, but only ended up hurting my thumb. It was no good. What am I supposed to do now? I checked the window, but it was too small. I wouldn't be able to fit through it. My bad premonition turned out to be spot on. The hot water pouring out of the shower was getting hotter, and the white steam was getting thicker. It started getting hard to breathe, and I couldn't take it anymore. I got out by breaking through the glass. Wait a minute. As I was changing my clothes, a scary sort of vision came to me. The temperature went up slowly this time, so I was fine. But what if the door had totally shut on Nami? Fortunately, she wasn't strong enough to shut the door all the way, but what if I'd gone in before her? I started to get worried about Nami. possible she went looking for her watch. I headed to the dining room, but Nami wasn't there. I went inside just in case and even looked around the kitchen further, but as I expected, she wasn't there. Where could she have gone? I saw a flash of white clothing in the hallway. In a panic, I turned around and faced the door, but all I saw was the hem of a white dress. Who's that? I ran off in pursuit as fast as I could. Still, there wasn't any trace of anybody in the hallway. Weird. Nami would never wear anything like that. Without anywhere else to go, I wound up back at the entrance. I could hear someone talking from the second floor. I listened hard, but then I couldn't hear anything. But then I suddenly couldn't hear anything. That's odd. I'm pretty sure I heard someone just now. I quietly headed up to the second floor. Top of the stairs, I could hear someone talking again from the other side of the hallway. As I got closer, the voices became increasingly clear. It seemed to be a conversation between a young man and a young woman. Did whoever owns this house come back? The voices sounded cheerful. I wondered if all that creepy stuff that went on here was just some sort of misunderstanding. If that were true, then how would we ever be able to explain to them everything we'd be doing here? I felt conflicted as I stepped toward the room before me. I figured I should start with an apology. I lifted my arm, about to knock on the door, but the conversation was suddenly cut short. The door opened slightly. Ah! Did they notice I was here? I froze up and waited for them to appear. A white hand appeared from the gap in the door. Girl's hand. I spoke without thinking. The person inside suddenly drew back. She also seemed to be at a loss for words, but in the next instant she was suddenly apologizing. I'm sorry, Huh? It was Nami's voice. What? Nami? Alan? I opened the door fully and saw Nami standing there. You've got to be kidding me. What? The tension I was feeling was gone. What were you doing? I thought the owners of the house came back. I did too. Don't surprise me like that. Why'd you even come to a place like this? I was so worried about you when you weren't there after I got out of the shower. You don't understand. Just listen. Nami's eyes were starting to sparkle, like she was about to tell me about some sort of grand adventure. I went looking for my watch and I heard talking. I figured that the owner of the house came back. Same here. That's why I came up here. And the thing is... Nami laughed and slapped my shoulder. It's so weird. Just listen, okay? I'm listening. What do you think it was? Who knows? Exactly. So listen. I already told you I'm listening. He was starting to irritate me. I nervously knocked on the door. Mm-hmm. They didn't respond, though. They just kept talking, and I opened the door, and then, hee. Don't laugh. Just hurry up and tell me. Nobody was there. So what do you think it might have been? Stop screwing around with me, all right? I was worried here. I raised my voice at her. Sorry, Nami cut her sentence short and changed her posture as if she was about to announce some very important news. It was a radio. A radio? See? Right there. Nami pointed to a black radio in the middle of a room. Right. Well then, why didn't you come back down afterwards? I was worried. Yeah, about that. Nami looked on top of the dresser. There were two Western-style girl dolls that had been placed there. Both the dolls were wearing the exact same outfit, a red cloth jumper skirt. I feel like I've seen these dolls somewhere before. These dolls? I picked them up. Let me have them. Nami took them very delicately with both hands and pressed both of them against her cheeks. Huh? Nami looked so relaxed. There was a face I'd never seen her make before. Are you okay? These dolls feel familiar, somehow. They make me feel like a kid again. They just look like dolls to me, but I guess it's because I'm a guy? No, I wouldn't say that. These are special. Nami closed her eyes, lost in the moment. I'll never understand. I'll never understand women. Well, anyway. I saw someone kind of like a doll earlier. I'm guessing she's the owner of this house? Yeah? I think it was a lady in a white dress. Nami looked at me. She seemed as though she was still dreaming. It concerns me a little, so I'd like to go back down and check everything out. I turned to leave. Okay. Nami reached out and placed the dolls back, like she was handling some great treasure. As she left the room, she waved sadly at the dolls. Bye-bye. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Alright, let's continue our search, shall we? Yeah. Nami still seemed a little out of it as we headed downstairs. This door seems suspicious. It was the door at the front of the entrance hall. Maybe the lady in the white dress went through it earlier. I opened the door. It continued deeper into a long, dark room. It's like a tunnel, huh? There were candlesticks lined up against the bare stone wall. I turned on my flashlight. There was a door in the back. We opened that door. Nami started muttering. Yeah? We'll be back in the entrance hall again. Like we went back in time. Huh? This hallway is a tunnel that goes back into the past. She said this with a serious look on her face. You're not making any sense. I paid her no mind and continued along. The door was a slattered shutter type. I could feel the wind outside blowing through the gap. The floor right in front of the door was soaking wet. Once we open this, we'll be back in the entrance hall, right? I opened the door. Whoa! Suddenly, I felt something cold softly touch my face. It was a cluster of vines, wet from the rain. I pushed my way through the vines and made my way out. There, I found a balcony facing the back garden. Wooden scaffolding had been set up there a long time ago. It had become worn down over the years. In the center was a single wooden table that had started to rot, with 3 deck chairs set around it. Each had been turned to face in different directions. There was an overhead trellis with vines hanging down, making it look like the entrance to a haunted house. The rain had stopped, but water still dripped from the vines, hitting my face and shoulders. What an awesome entrance, huh? I had intended to be cynical, but it seemed like Nami hadn't heard me. She suddenly tugged at my hand and pointed to one of the pillars holding up the trellis. Hey, look at that. Huh? Isn't there something shining there? It's true. A beam looked like a long, thin shadow, and I could see a dim yellow light near the bottom. It didn't seem like a flame or an electric light. It was a gentle light with some kind of sheen to it. Is it the spirit of Princess Kaguya? I thought you'd say that. I walked up to the pillar. Oh, it's fluorescent paint. 2 lines about as thick as my finger had been drawn with some space between them, one over the other. Why here of all places? I bent down and turned the light towards the lower line. The paint had dried on top of the wooden pillar's original paint, making it appear crusty. A straight line had been painted over it with a fluorescent paint. And upon closer inspection, it seemed that something had been used, perhaps a nail, to etch something in the wood. A straight line, along with what appeared to be letters to the right of it. What's this? Something's written here. What's this? Something's written here. I strained my eyes to see what it was, but it was old and worn out, and crusted with paint, so it was too hard to see. We'll be able to read it if we scratch off the paint. We'll be able to read it if we scratch off the paint, Nami said, as she started scratching away at the paint with her fingernail. It was fun watching her work at peeling away at the paint, and soon the pillar revealed what was written underneath. Nami. That's what had been carved there. I felt like there was something black in the pit of my stomach. Nami stopped moving her finger the moment she saw it, but then went right back to peeling away at the paint. Hey, Nami? I tapped her on the shoulder from behind, but she ignored me and kept working on scratching away the paint. She ended up scratching off the paint up to a centimeter above and below the painted area. Most of the old paint had been totally scratched off. There were actually 2 lines underneath both sets of lines, for a total of 4 in all, and besides each line was a name. Names of Nami, Naomi, and Nami had been carved in that order. Nami, Naomi, and Nami. Slowly, Nami looked back at me. She had a stoic expression on her face. Comparing heights? Huh? Oh, right. I see. I wonder who Naomi is. Well, I'm Nami, right? But who's Naomi? Hey, what are you talking about? I gave Nami's shoulder an exaggerated slug. It's just the name of the girl who lives here. You're overthinking it. Am I? You are. It's just a coincidence. What's wrong with you, Nami? You're not acting like yourself. You look really dark, too. I hope it's just a coincidence, but what about that lady you mentioned earlier? The one in the white dress? Huh? She looked like me, didn't she? I... I didn't see her face. Oh. All sorts of questions came to mind. Yeah, no, hang on. What did Nami mean by that? Nami. Nami looked intently at the height comparison lines. She seemed pale. I knew she had to get away from this place first and foremost. Come on, let's go inside. We just got soaked from those vines, and right after our bath. But Nami still had a dark expression on her face. I brought my mouth up to Nami's ears. We could take a shower together this time, you know. Don't be stupid. He finally laughed a little. Alright, let's go. Sure. I took Nami by the hand and we walked towards the slattered shutter door. I looked back before we went through the door and I could see speckles of fluorescent paint still left behind on one side of the dark balcony. Should we check that room? We still hadn't fully checked everything on the left side. I started walking that way. Do you think it's open? I stood in front of the door and turned the knob. Sure is dark, huh? The only illumination was provided by a single candle in the corner of the room, but there was a switch on the wall. The lights turned on. There was a dazzling bright chandelier hanging from the ceiling. Sure is spacious here. Say, isn't that a piano over there? Nami pointed to the right side of the room. You're right. It's a piano hall. We went inside. There were sliding glass doors leading out to the backyard. It may look quite beautiful during the day, but at night, the black against the glass just reflected what was in the room. Before I knew it, Nami was standing in front of the piano, tapping away at the keys. You could play the piano, Nami? I can't play it well enough to answer that question with a yes, but I do like the sound of the piano. Well, what song is that? I don't know. I don't know the title or even who composed it. Someone taught you how to play it? No, I just remember hearing it a long time ago. I'm not sure when, though. I find it odd myself. Life's like that sometimes, yeah? Suddenly, Nami's hand stopped moving. What's wrong? Is it over already? Nami was looking past me over my shoulder. Hey, that's... When I looked behind me, I saw a painting of a lady hung up on the wall. It was a woman in her 30s wearing traditional Japanese clothing, standing with a mountain range behind her. Her long hair had been brushed over her left shoulder. She held wildflowers in both hands, which she had clutched against her chest. Picture? Obviously. But do you notice anything special about it? Nami smiled, as if she was challenging me. I started to panic. Was it painted by a famous artist? I didn't know anything about paintings, though. Yeah. Hey, those are hypericums she's holding. Oh yeah, now that you mention it. But there's something else, too. Hmm? Doesn't she look like me? Huh? That was sudden. I took another look at the woman in the painting. At first, I didn't know what Nami meant. The lady's makeup was very old-fashioned, and the painting seemed old, so I couldn't really see a resemblance to Nami, who was a typical modern-day girl. But as I looked at it more, I saw a similarity in the eye, and that's when it hit me. Nami bent her head the same way whenever she smiled, and had a tendency of lightly lifting her chin up. It made her look less symmetrical. When she got careless, the expression even made her look ever so homely. It made me feel uneasy, like handling newborn babies who can't support their own neck yet. I did love it when Nami smiled, but every time she did, I felt a sense of loss and fear. The smile of the lady in the painting made me feel that exact same sense of unease. More than her physical features, it was her expression that surprised me. I don't see it. She doesn't look like you at all. I lied because I found it creepy how similar they were. Oh? Nami smiled lightly, tilted her head. It was like the painting had come to life. It sent a chill down my spine. But, you know, Nami, you're not as pretty as her. I turned away so I didn't have to meet Nami's gaze. So you're saying I'm ugly? Nami slammed on the piano keys and stood up. I didn't say you were ugly. You said it just now. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Nami pounded angrily. Now her face looked nothing like the picture. No, it's just... I started to lighten up my expression. Okay, I said it. What, are you just teasing me? Then I'm not playing the piano for you ever again. Nami turned her back to me. The wind blew in that moment. Uh-oh. The curtain blew up to the lit candle on the piano and caught on fire, which quickly spread across the entire curtain. Ah! The burning curtain fell over Nami's face. Nami! I pulled the curtain off in a hurry. The metal part that attached the rail ripped right off. I hurled it to the floor and stomped on it with my feet in a panic. The fire was strong, but fortunately the thin curtain didn't provide it much fuel. Since it had nothing else to travel to, I managed to extinguish the fire. Phew, the whole house almost went down in flames. Are you okay, Nami? She didn't respond. She stood there facing the wall, her back turned to me. What's wrong? A burn? When I asked this question, Nami turned to me and slowly nodded. Where? Where's the burn? The face. Huh? I approached her, confused, until she pointed at the lady in the painting. When the curtain was flapping around, the heat must have melted the oil in the painting, making the lady appear to have been burned on the right side of her face. Oh, is that all? Man, you surprised me. I thought you meant your own face. I laughed, relieved, until Nami said something that made no sense. Mom? Sis? What do you mean, sis? I didn't know what she was talking about. Nami's an only child. I stood there dumbfounded. And then Nami suddenly started trembling and ran for the exit. Where are you going? Flustered, I grabbed Nami by the arm. Let me go! I have to find that mummy, or else... That mummy? The one in the wheelchair? Yeah, so let me go! Nami struggled so hard I thought she might rip my arm off. Calm down, Nami. What's going on? Let me go. I'm not letting you go until you calm down. I grabbed Nami by both shoulders and looked her straight in the eye. What's this all about? Explain it to me. I used to live in this house. I lived here a long time ago. That's news to me. A long time ago. How long ago was it? I don't know. I just know it was when I was really little. I lived here together with my mom and dad. And my older sister. Your older sister? But you're an only child, right? No. I had an older sister, she whispered. Why did you hide it from me? I never heard you talk about her before. I wasn't hiding it from you, Alan. I'd never do that. I only just knew it now. I remembered for the first time. I'm as shocked as you are that I had a different mom. But now I know. I remember her now. Nami's lips quivered. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that you hid it from... Sorry, oh. Ah, my God. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that you hid it from me. I should watch what I say. I apologized, but I still couldn't believe what she was saying. We stumbled into this mansion by accident, and she just happened to have lived here a long time ago. But Nami, it's not that I don't believe you, but isn't it possible you're just mistaken? I mean, all sorts of crazy things have been happening to us since we got here. You're tired. You're not thinking straight. No, this can't be some sort of trick. Nami shook her head. I remember now, though it's faint. It's getting clearer. But if it's true, Oh, Alan. Nami looked at me as if she wanted me to save her. What should I do? That mummy was to be either my mom or That mummy has to be either my mom or my sister. What am I supposed to do? I don't know what to say to her. Nami looked down at the ground, trembling. I might have done something I can never undo. Something you can never undo? What would that be? I can't remember what it is yet, but it's something. I did something to my sister, but I can't remember what. That's why I have to find that mummy. Nami stumbled to the hallway. I said... Okay, Nami, I'll help you. We'll find that mummy together. Nami and I left the piano room. It was silent in the hall as if nothing had happened. We should start searching from the second floor, shouldn't we? We slowly trudged upstairs. Nami had said what she'd said, but it made no sense to me. She'd found her name here, and we'd experienced all sorts of strange things, but she's just confused. Once we've checked through everything, we'll get some rest on the sofa. Tomorrow, the two of us will probably be having a good laugh about all of this. Okay, should we start checking from the second floor? As we headed up to the second floor hallway, I turned and looked behind me. Huh? Nami wasn't there. Did I lose her somewhere? I was sure she was right behind me. Where did you go? I checked down the second floor hallway. The door to the room where the mummy had frightened us was slightly open, and light was coming out from inside. I came closer to the door. The door started opening on its own. Was it Nami or someone else? I held my breath and waited for someone to come out. It was Nami. I breathed a sigh of relief. Nami, I was so worried. Suddenly, Nami brought her hands up and flung something silver at me, aiming straight for my face. Whoa! After I barely managed to dodge it, Nami's momentum carried her right past me. She had a wrench in her hands. What are you doing, Nami? I screamed at her, but Nami regained her bearings and came at my head with the wrench again. Her face looked demonic. Stop it! I grabbed her hands overhead, but she was stronger than I expected. Both of us were pushing at each other, our hands grappling above our heads. But still, she only had the strength of a woman. The moment she realized that she was about to lose to me, Nami threw the wrench at my head. Ah! It was a direct hit. I hunkered down with my hands over my head, and Nami dashed into the hallway. Ow! I touched the spot gingerly. That hurt. I could feel a bump forming, but fortunately it wasn't bleeding. What in the world just happened? I looked at the floor and found the wrench, along with a single Polaroid picture. Maybe she dropped it during the scuffle. When I picked it up, I saw that it was a picture of Nami and me enjoying ourselves, but it was taken from really far away. When was this taken? I picked up the wrench. There was tape on the handle with the name Alan written on it. This is my own wrench. I used this to do maintenance on my car, I'm sure of it. I remembered the car accident earlier. If she had this wrench, she must have picked it up near the car. There was a high possibility that whoever had this wrench tampered with the car. Don't tell me Nami did it. No, it was unthinkable. Nami was a victim in that accident, too. We both almost died. So why would Nami have brought this here? And what's more, why would she have attacked me with it? In any case, I have to find her. Ooh, I headed in the same direction I saw Nami go, down the hall. I heard something in one of the rooms. I opened the door without hesitation. Oh, Nami! Nami was standing in front of the desk in the left corner of the room. She was reading some sort of diary. When I entered the room, Nami slowly looked over at me. Alan, what did you do that for, Nami? Hey, look at this! Nami handed me the small book that she was reading. The expression on her face made her look like she was lost in her thoughts. I lost the chance to ask her about what had happened earlier, because I just did what she said and took the book. It was a maternal diary. I opened it and I saw the name Nami written there. And this one, too. She handed me another one. This one had the name Naomi. The date of birth was the same. We got twins. Twins! I knew it. I knew it. This was all Nami could say. Her voice was racked with pain. She buried her face in her hands and ran out the door. It was all too much. I was dumbfounded. Was everything that Nami said true? Did she really live here with her sister? And that wasn't Nami, but Naomi? If they were identical twins, then it wouldn't be out of the question. But why? Why would Nami's sister mess with my car and attack me? What did I ever do to her? Now that I think about it, I remembered what happened in the shower. Maybe that was Naomi too. I don't know why she would have a grudge against me, but one thing was clear. She was trying to hurt us. I started to get worried about Nami. Nami! When I went out to the hallway, the door further ahead closed. It was probably Naomi's room. I started walking that way, but when I looked down, I could see wet footprints that led to a different room. I also heard the piano coming from below. Where could Nami be? Oh, fuck. She wouldn't have wet footprints. I can't imagine her going back to the piano hall. I think she's just in the room up ahead. I ran to the hallway over to the door that had shut. Strangely enough, nobody was inside. That's weird. I'm sure I saw somebody just come in here. I took a peek in the cabinet and under the bed, anywhere a person might be able to hide, but nobody was there. I happened to notice an old diary on the desk. On the cover, it said Year 1, Class 3. Opening it up, I could see writing that looked like it had been done by a child. It was Naomi's diary, back when she was in elementary school. I was worried about Nami and all, but curiosity got the better of me and I started reading the diary. April 20th. Sunny. Today, Mom made more acronultinct oil. She always rubs it on me and prays I'll get better. Next time, I hope my burn will get better. April 21st. Sunny. Mom rubbed the medicine on me again today. She said my burn's not so bad, but it is. I don't have any friends at school. They say my burn looks gross. Once it goes away, I think I can make some friends. Did she have any traces left of a burn? I tried to remember Naomi's face when she attacked me, but I was so caught up in the moment that I didn't really look at her that closely. I kept reading the diary. May 20th. Cloudy. A boy pulled my hair today. Everybody laughed when I cried. When I got home, Mom said I had something on my back. I asked her to pull it off. It was a piece of paper. It said monster. June 18th. Rainy. We used up all the medicine, but my burn didn't go away. Mom told me not to worry and the burn will go away when I get older. But I just want friends. I'm always alone. Her writing was childish. The sentences were short and disjointed. At times it seemed like she was just writing down her memories, but every memory she wrote in the diary was bad. She blamed all of her bad experiences on her burn. There was another notebook on the desk. It was another diary, but this one was written by an adult. June 3rd. Despite having used that new medicine for a whole month, the burn on my forehead is stubborn. It refuses to heal. I can only guess how long it might take, but eventually a day will come when I'll be able to leave this house. Why must I alone suffer this burn? Why must I alone be burdened by such misfortune? I cut my hair again. July 3rd. Today I learned for the first time that I had a twin sister. I knew Mom was hiding something from me for the longest time, but I found her diary stuck in a drawer. I asked her why she never told me about it. She said that it's because my sister died very early on. I don't believe her. I think Mom's still hiding something from me. Today, I turned 20. September 20th. I read Mom's diary, and now I know what caused it. I know that my little sister was the one that started the fire that burned me. Mom told me that Nami died in the fire at that time, but she can say whatever she wants. It's obvious to me that she's lying. It's obvious. She's trying to hide the truth from me, guaranteed. September 30th. Mom's still hiding the truth from me. She still is. I ask her over and over again, but she won't respond. She just sits there silently. I asked her yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. Nothing. No reply. I'll ask her again tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, too. I'll keep asking her until she tells me. October 15th. Mom just won't listen. She never says anything anymore. She just sits in her chair without a single word. She won't even open her eyes. I don't even care anymore, though. I'm going to go and find Nami. November 5th. Mom, why don't you ever eat? I went through the trouble of making soup for you. You've gotten so thin ever since you stopped eating. I never untied the ropes so you could eat. I even untied the ropes so that you could eat, but you still won't. Is it because you're mad at me for keeping you shut in your room for so long? I mean, I'm not mad at Nami anymore. I even managed to make some friends. December 30th. Mom died after someone locked her in a room. Who could have done such a thing? I lost the only family member I have. Mom, I'm so lonely. I wish I was dead too. February 14th. 49 days have passed now, Mom. I grieved for you the whole time, but I had forgotten about Nami. I still have Nami. She must be alive somewhere out there. I want to see her soon. I'll introduce her to my friends, and then we can all live together. I know we'll be happy. We're sisters, after all, Nami. The diary ended here. This means she killed her own mother, didn't she? I felt panic start to set in. I had to find Nami right now. When I turned around, I saw someone peeking in at me through the gap in the door. Who's there? The face disappeared. Was that Naomi just now? I went out into the hallway. figure had just gone into the room behind the next door over. It was the room I'd never opened. I grabbed the doorknob. An electric current surged through my body. My hand wouldn't leave the knob. I felt my vision go white, my consciousness growing further away. Nami. You're so cute, Nami. I could hear someone muttering. I opened my eyes. The light from the chandelier was bright. Ugh! I tried to get up, but my arms and legs were bound with rope. I couldn't move. I turned my head to the side and saw some yellow flowers. They were hypericums. This is that coffin, isn't it? I'd had my hands tied behind my back, and I'd been placed in the coffin full of hypericums. Your hair looks good like this. I heard that voice again. The voice sounded just like Nami's. I raised my head, but I only got a small glimpse out of the coffin. I saw that Nami had been made to sit in a wheelchair, and the girl in the white dress was combing her hair. That must be Naomi. I didn't know if Nami was asleep or knocked out, but her eyes were closed and she seemed to be totally unconscious. Next, some makeup. The girl turned to face my direction. In a panic, I put my head down. There was no point causing a scene when I couldn't move. I figured it was best to pretend that I was still unconscious. I held my breath and listened to what she was saying. I almost remember you. I remember a girl I used to play with when I was little. Mom told me that she moved away. She was just trying to trick me. Even when I found out I had a sister, she didn't want me to meet you. She said you were dead. What a terrible excuse for a mother, wouldn't you say? But I knew I'd meet you one day, and when I did, I swore that I'd take care of you. I've thought about doing this sort of thing for so many years. I want to comb your hair like this and put on makeup. Hee hee. Naomi seemed to be genuinely happy as she laughed. What had happened to all the resentment that she had poured into her diary? We really do look alike, huh? Or we really do look alike, though. Aside from the burn. You know, I went through a lot of pain up until junior high school because of this burn. My friends used to tease me. I got bullied. I ended up becoming a shut-in, which only made me feel lonelier. After junior high school, I pretty much never left the house. I lived with Mom here, just the two of us. I didn't have any friends. Not one. Because of the burn. Naomi's tone of voice had suddenly grown coarse. Surprised, I lifted my head up. I could see the way she was hugging Nami's unresponsive head. She had gritted her teeth, scowling to hold back her anger. She didn't know that I was watching her, and the thing is, I was surprised by what I saw. I saw their faces side by side. Naomi had kept going on and on about her burn, but their faces looked exactly the same to me. Clearly, the burn wasn't the problem. Her problem was a mental one. Naomi's lips quivered with anger, but after a moment her shoulders dropped and the expression on her face became gentle. But even though I didn't have any human friends, I had all sorts of other friends. Do you know what kinds of friends I had? Well, I had the grass and the flowers, the stars and the wind. You probably don't believe me, but it's true. You can believe your own sister. It was amazing. Countless flowers in a field would each tell me a love story. The wind and the stars would quietly whisper poems like gems in the cool hours of the early morning. So those were the friends she wrote about making in her diary, huh? She really had become totally locked in her own world. People are terrible, you know. You can trust someone and have that trust fall apart in the blink of an eye. Someone we had faith in until yesterday might today become a monster the likes of which we've never seen. One that would bring us so much pain. I know that you're the one who gave me this burn. I despise you for that. I despised you for that a long time ago. But I don't feel that way now. People aren't terrible. The stars and the wind have told me that much. The trees and flowers, my friends. I'm happy now, Nami. And I want you, my little sister, to be able to experience that same happiness. The wheelchair started to move. Come on, let's go. It's going to be hot, but it only hurts for a little while. Naomi intended to burn Nami, just like she had been burned. Wait! I shouted. Naomi turned to face me. Oh, right. I need to close the coffin. She drew closer, ever so slowly, but I couldn't even lift a finger to stop her. Nami! Wake up! Nami! I shouted as loud as I could, but Nami wouldn't open her eyes. I must thank you. You brought Nami to me after all. Sleep well now. Nami pushed my body down, and while she closed the lid, she tossed a lit candlestick inside. It won't be dark in there. Not with this. Ow, it's hot! I twisted my body away from the fire. The candle continued burning in the coffin. You bitch! You want to burn me to death in here? The hypericums in the coffin were freshly picked, too fresh to catch fire right away. The flames could spread to the coffin lining of the cloth lining in the coffin, and even if the fire didn't kill me after that, the lack of oxygen would. I need to put out the fire. I was about to roll around in the coffin as hard as I could, hoping to put out the fire, but it occurred to me that I might be able to use the candle to burn away the rope, so I brought my tied hands closer to the flame. It's so hot. Ugh! I gritted my teeth there in the small coffin, my body writhing. Hurry, hurry. Just gotta break through. There! I ripped open the lid. The door was closed, and the two of them weren't here anymore. When I looked at the window, I could see that the curtains were on fire. He probably wanted a second chance to burn me to death just in case. I untied my feet as fast as I could and jumped straight for the door. Please be open. But it was locked from the outside, and the door wouldn't budge. I looked around the room, but it was empty, aside from the coffin. The flames on the curtain were trying to fill the room with black smoke. Were starting to fill the room with black smoke. If I didn't get out of here soon, I'd be smothered to death by the smoke. I dragged the coffin to the front of the door, stood it upright, and knocked it over as hard as I could towards the door. The hinges popped off and the door opened. Nami! There was no trace of either of them. Where did you go? I opened the door that was right in front of me. The moment I opened the door, something swooshed right in front of my eyes, almost hitting me. When I looked down, I saw the axe that the suit of armor had been holding. Had the axe been rigged to fall when somebody opened the door? If I had walked into the room faster, I'd have been dead. I need to be careful. I looked around inside the room, but nobody was there. Thinking it might be useful, I picked up the axe. I might be able to use it to open a door. Who knows what other traps might be rigged when I opened a different door. I had a good idea of where Nami and Naomi had gone, the room I had tried to enter earlier but couldn't. When I tried to go inside before, Nami was oddly scared of it. It could be that room, the room we didn't open. That's gotta be it. I decided to trust my instincts. As I got closer, I could hear voices. The voices were coming from the door I hadn't opened, just as I expected. I stood at the door and carefully peeked through the keyhole. I could see Nami sitting there. I'm not sure when her clothes had changed, but she was wearing the same white clothes as Naomi, her hair held back by a pin. She seemed to be awake now. She was tied by a rope and had her mouth gagged. Another person appeared to be sitting next to Nami, but I couldn't see them clearly because of Naomi's shadow. Naomi stood before a wooden desk, mixing some sort of chemicals. I tried twisting the doorknob, but it was locked from the inside. Now we really will be twins. Nami, look over at Mom, okay? Naomi moved slightly. The person sitting next to Nami was that mummy, their mom. Naomi filled a flask with chemicals she'd put together and approached Nami's face with it. Nami was trying her hardest to move her face away from the flask. It will only hurt for a second. Naomi tilted the flask. Nami shook her head from side to side. Drops of the chemical fell to the side, hitting the body sitting on the wheelchair. At that very second, white smoke started to rise up. Don't fight me. I'm doing this for your own good. Naomi held Nami's face in place with her left hand, tears streaming down Nami's face. Don't cry. It only hurts for a second. You'll be fine, okay? I lifted the axe and slammed it into the door, busting right through it. Stop it! I hurled the axe at Naomi with all my might. Ah! Naomi lost her balance trying to avoid the axe and ended up spilling the flask's contents on the mummy's face. Before my very eyes, the mummy's entire face was melting away. Oh, Mom, your face. Flustered, Naomi cast me a scornful look as I undid the rope that had been used to tie Nami up. Alan! Nami! There was a loud sound and the room shook. Those flames from earlier must have ignited something somewhere. How could you? How could you do this to my mom? Naomi looked straight at me with a crazed look in her eyes. Let's get out of here. I pulled Nami by the hand into the hallway. It was the sound of another explosion. It shook the whole mansion. We were falling over ourselves as we ran downstairs to the entrance hall. We could get out through here. Oh, yes, we can. Oh, we can't get out through here. Oh, yes, we can. I gripped the axe in both hands. At that moment, the floor of the entrance hall erupted in flames. No. Now we can't get near the door. Nami, stand back. I hurled the axe at the aquarium. But what came pouring out of the aquarium wasn't water. Somebody had swapped it out with something else. Because what came out of the aquarium was a big black cluster that unfurled slowly and spread out on the floor. Snakes! A huge pile of snakes. The snakes crawled along, trying to avoid the fire on the floor, which forced us to separate. Alan! It's no good. These are venomous snakes. Nami, go through the back exit. I'll leave through the terrace. We'll meet up in the garden out back. You have to make it, okay? And after you have to make it, okay? And after she said that, Nami ran down the hallway. I opened the nearby door that led to the garden terrace from the entrance hall and ran through the pitch-black passage. Nami! When I made it to the garden in the back, I used the terrace stairs and faced the rear exit of the mansion. Nami had to come out through here, but then the flames started to pour out of the underground room from with the boiler. Oh, right. The explosion came from the boiler room. The boiler room was really close to the bathroom, and Nami had to pass by the bathroom. Was she going to be okay? Nami still hadn't come out. I ran over to the rear exit. I ran past the kitchen. Nami still hadn't shown up. I ran past the back of the bathroom. The door Nami was supposed to pass through still hadn't opened. Nami! Nami! I went past the burning boiler room, and just as I made it to the concrete landing by the back exit, the door finally opened. Nami burst through the door like she had been leaning into it. Nami! I almost collapsed onto the landing as I hugged Nami. Nami! You gotta keep it together. Flames were already starting to reach outside of the mansion. The glass windows started breaking. I tried to shield Nami as we ran to take refuge at the greenhouse. There at the greenhouse, Nami was exhausted. I set her in the flowers and kept calling her name. Nami, you're okay. We're safe. Nami slowly opened her eyes. Nami! Oh, I'm so glad. I held Nami in my arms. I looked behind me. The mansion was ablaze under the night sky. Nami stood up and looked at the mansion. Nami! At that moment, the blazing mansion fell with a huge crash. Amidst the flames, I heard a scream. Alan! Could it be? Nami turned back to me, slowly, holding up her hair, showing me her forehead. Interesting. So I know there's multiple endings. The question is, how exactly do I get to those multiple endings? I assume just by playing the game again, I will get to a point where another choice appears that wasn't there. But since this game was made for the SNES, there probably isn't a way to, like, skip large swaths of dialogue, which is unfortunate. Made in 1992. Chunsoft Corporation. Try again. Ooh. I can't continue. Fast forward. Interesting. Let me drop a save state just in case. But I guess the game wants me to reset. It does, second time. What's 37 mean? Interesting. Very interesting. So yeah, it even says second time. Okay, cool. So that was the initial playthrough. I don't know how much is going to be similar through each playthrough and how much is going to be different. Uh, but I'd say that this is probably a good spot to stop. And next time we will continue on with OTO-GIRI-SOU. Yes. Yes. That is in fact the name. Uh it's very, very interesting. Uh I still the only thing, because they call it a sound novel, the only thing that I can think of is that, oh, it's a book, but it has music and sound effects in it because it's a video game, so they called it a sound novel. But I don't think there's anything really that unique about this game compared to other visual novels. Now, when it came out, it was really, really unique. Uh in fact, I think potentially it was one of the first visual novels. Uh if not at least like the first visual novel for like a console, because I think there were like a couple of visual novel or visual novel style games on like PCs, the MSX probably specifically, but like it's cool. Especially the idea of going through the game multiple times. I really, really like games where you are incentivized to make different choices each time in order to get different endings. And also, depending on the choices you make, you could even unlock new endings in subsequent playthroughs. There is a possibility that when going through multiple times, because I found maybe like the diary, like Naomi's diary, in this playthrough, maybe there'll be a bit of dialogue where I just know that information somehow without actually looking into it. Uh, who knows though? The only way I'll know is by actually playing. So next time we will do just that. Next time we will reread OTO-GIRI-SOU and see what happens. Thank you all for watching, especially if you got this far, and stick around because there's a lot more to come.